Hey guys, it's your Tech Girl Mary and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Yup, you've been requesting for this smartphone for quite a while already and finally, nandito na siya sa Philippines. I have here the new Vivo V40. Sa mga pro lovers dyan, pwedeng malungkot kayo kasi this time guys, isa lang yung phone na nilabas dito. But officially, or we could say globally, we also have a Pro variant. Hindi nga lang ito kasama dito sa ilalabas sa Pilipinas. But, ito yung good news ko. First time ever on a V-series, meron na tayong Zeiss partnership dito sa regular or yung non-Pro nila. Kala ko matatagalan pa to, but at least, starting at 26,999 pesos, itong Vivo V40 is the first in Vivo's non-Pro series to include Zeiss optics. And isa lang yung ibig sabihin nito, high quality photography is more accessible now. Pero teka lang, ang dami rin kasing bagong smartphones ngayon na nasa same price segment niya na maganda rin yung camera. So magkakaalaman tayo ngayon sa video natin if this phone is actually worth it. Una sa mga napansin ko sa design or aesthetics ng device na to is yung dalawang cameras niya, in fairness, maliit lang. Alam niyo naman na palakihan yung camera setup ngayon when it comes to smartphones. And considering din na higher megapixel sila, I'm glad that they were able to make it minimal. I guess this also depends on the sensor. At the same time, hindi rin makapal or intrusive yung camera bump niya. So for me, indeed, it is a pleasant surprise for Vivo who were able to manage to make it thin. If you will also notice, doon sa lower ring, here we have the Aura Light that is a bit smaller compared to its predecessors. Again, ito yung camera setup na hindi sumisigaw. The rest of it is pretty plain. Again, marami tayong variety of colors to choose from. From what I know, yung iba ay may glossy finish, but with what I have, this one is matte. So yes, smudges are really hard to see here. And for the first time, the Vivo V40 finally has an IP68 water and dust resistance. Yes, for this video guys, marami akong sasabihin na for the first time dahil madami-dami yung mga features na bago sa kanya. Sa wakas, another first time on the Vivo V40 is finally, it now has a dual stereo speaker. If you remember yung Vivo V30 natin na review, isa to sa mga hindi ko talaga nagustuhan at hinahanap-hanap sa kanya considering the price point. And with our real-world usage, in fairness naman, the stereo sound is balanced, the bass is there, and hindi na siya bitin unlike the last time. Now, I know cameras yung pinunta nyo dito, so let's talk about it and unahin natin yung specs on paper tapos yung real-world usage ko. Yung unang-unang camera on top is a 50 megapixels Zeiss ultra-wide angle. The second one is the 50 megapixels Zeiss main camera. This comes with an OIS. And lastly, a 50 megapixels Zeiss selfie camera. The main camera sensor is a Samsung ISOCELL GNJ that shoots 4K up to 30 FPS video footages. While yung ultra-wide naman nito, hindi ko alam or from what I noticed, hindi siya minention. Actually, kung mapapansin nyo sa setup niya, there is no longer a flash. Last time, may flash pa tayo, but this time, they fully removed it in favor of the Aura Light, which is, according to the company, is 33% brighter than its predecessor. Meaning, we are getting the same megapixel count with the Vivo V30 and now here on the Vivo V40. Ang pinagkaiba lang is that, again, we now have Zeiss optics. And this is present with all of its cameras. Now, when it comes to camera UI, ito parehas lang naman siya with other Vivo smartphones running with Front Touch OS. It still includes all the camera features such as AR stickers, Pro mode, long exposure, 50 megapixels mode, super moon, and more. Speaking of that, even though this has a 50 megapixels, the final output is still 12.5 megapixel in size. Again, this is pixel binning, hindi lang naman si Vivo, lahat naman halos ng Android phones dumadaan ng pixel binning. Now, coming to the camera quality, I recommend you turn on or enable HDR option. In fairness, it really makes the dynamic range better. It can also focus quickly, which is why most of the time, ang ganda talaga ng shots natin. These Zeiss tuned cameras really deliver, producing a detailed and clear shots. That is true both in portrait and even on its main camera. Though I don't have the vivo V40 with me right now to do a comparison kung may mga changes ba, especially if we crop in an image, but I can say mas iba yung kulay ngayon. And this is in a good way. Now, when it comes to the aura light ring, alam naman nating lahat that this really transforms images that makes it studio quality. This is flexible pa rin with light temperature and intensity. This depends na lang on the scenario, and this really helps me especially with low light scenarios. Now, I would like to point out lang na I know maganda yung output ng main camera natin, lalong-lalo na in low light considering that we have a dedicated OIS and again, sinamahan pa nung oral light niya. But since we don't have a dedicated telephoto lens here, expected ko na siya na medyo bumababa na yung quality ng images habang palayo ng palayo yung subject or yung pag-zoom natin. And syempre, dito na papasok yung Pro variant niya. Pero, again, wala nga tayo nun dito. Now, when it comes to its ultra-wide camera, this also does a good job. It can also shoot a macro, and even though wala tayong dedicated portrait sa kanya, it really does a decent job when it comes to edge detection. Now, one thing I noticed na medyo bago sa UI niya is, of course, they introduced the Zeiss multifocal portrait here, wherein we can get different focal lengths for portrait photography, from 24, 35, and even 50mm. Dito bago, most of the flagship devices, like iPhones, meron ng ganitong mga focal lengths, but it's good that we finally get it from mid-range devices. Aside from this, hindi nawawala yung iba't ibang Zeiss style portrait that is also present with the previous Vivo V phones, like the Bautista, Planar, Destagon, Sonar, and more. Now, when it comes to the front camera, ito, nagustuhan ko din siya. Meron din tayong tatlong focal length sa kanya. We have the 0.8x for those group photos. We got a 1x and of course the 2x for those close-up shots. Now, pag-usapan natin yung display niya and of course, the interface. It still has a 6.78 inches display size, same 20:9 aspect ratio, and same curved AMOLED display. It is bright even outdoors, and peak brightness can go even up to 4,500. In comparison doon sa V30 na hanggang 2,800 nits lang. So yes, expect this device to be really bright compared doon sa V30. I also noticed, kahit na curved yung display niya, in fairness, hindi gaanong kadalasan yung accidental trigger sa parts ng kanyang gilid or yung tinatawag nating ghost touches sa kanya. Hindi ko siya masyadong na-experience unlike sa ibang curved display smartphones. But coming to software, again, this runs on the Android 14 with FunTouch OS 14 on top. And according to my research, this device will get 3 Android OS updates and 4 years of security updates. Medyo madami-dami pa rin yung bloatware when we opened the device out of the box. Napansin ko mas improved yung personalization this time, including yung kinetic wallpapers, custom lock screens, clock style, and of course, different font styles. Ngayon, ang tanong for sure, may AI din ba yan? Actually, may AI eraser feature din siya that I had seen with other phones. Again, present on the Honor, Realme, and even Oppo. But I'm glad that they are not making it their main selling point. Kung baga, kung titignan natin, parang normal to sa kanya. This also has an optical in-display fingerprint sensor which immediately unlocks naman my device. Tapos, pwede natin siyang palitan ng iba't ibang animation whenever we need to unlock it. Now, you are probably wondering how about the performance, battery life, and charging. It has the same Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor, and it also has the same storage configuration as with last time. Which means, kung ano man yung sinabi ko sa vivo V30, ganun din yung nakuha ko sa vivo V40. I was able to get a solid mid-range performance, enough yung RAM allocation, and of course, the fluidity is there. Yun nga lang, syempre, you are not getting a distinct performance upgrade. Siguro kung maghahanap kayo ng difference from the V30 is probably the battery. There is a 500 mAh increase from its predecessor. And guys, in terms of numbers, malaki yun. Sa tagal ko nang nagre-review ng smartphones, typically it's just 100, 200, ganyan lang yung tinataas. Ganun ka-incremental yung mga changes when it comes to smartphones every 6 to 12 months. Minsan pa nga, wala. Which is why it does make the phone heavier, pero hindi ko siya masyadong napansin. And in the real world, this still depends on your usage, pero with us, grabe, almost 2 days kaya niyang tumagal. And this is during our testing. It also charges fast, 80 watts yung capability niya. Though obviously, hindi ito yung pinakamabilis, but 80 watts, that is pretty quick. Gladly, may power brick sa loob ng box. From what I noticed in other countries, guys, wala nito. Pakita ko lang quickly, ang ganda ng case, purple din. I like na hindi na-compromise yung kulay ng device kahit natakpan nyo siya. Yes, walang ganitong power brick sa ibang bansa. Anyway, to end our video, alam nyo, to be completely honest with you, kung value lang din naman ang pag-uusapan, kung naka vivo V30 ka ngayon, I don't think meron siyang standout feature na sobrang dami para mag-upgrade ka na agad. Pero hindi ko naman sinasabi na hindi siya worth it. Sa tingin ko, maganda pa rin siyang bilhin at mas nagustuhan ko yung naging experience ko sa kanya compared dun sa previous phone na nireview natin. If you know, you know. Pero kung yung Vivo phone mo ay medyo 2 generation yung gap, kunwari Vivo V20 or yung mas luma pa, indeed, it is worth upgrading. Zeiss camera performance and battery life, I don't think this device will let you down. Anyway, that's basically it. Again, it's your Tech Girl Mary and see you on our next video. Bye!